All right, we're here with Maciek from Pulp Monsters to talk about his Pulp City superhero game.
Hey, we're first time as the exhibitors at the Gen Con, and so far so good. What you might want to know about the game is this is a superhero skirmish game. It's not pre-painted, so it's the first pewter superhero game that is actually doing the 32mm scale. The game is basically about your superhero team against the other superhero team, so we want to keep the numbers reasonable, manageable, because every Supreme comes with a lot of special powers. So it's usually about 6 or 7 Supremes against 6 or 7 Supremes. The setting of the game is pretty much your Pulp Supremes, your Pulp superheroes. There's only 2 factions so far, and there's not going to be many more. There's heroes and there's villains. But even though there's 2 factions, there's a lot of customization to be done, since what we have done for the starters, and we're going to be doing more often, is that we try to introduce little sub-factions. So for instance, you have the heroes, but inside the hero starter box, you will find members of the heavy metal team who are pretty much your high-tech, white knights in shiny armor kind of guys. And yet, on the other hand, you will find Red Riding Hood. She's a member of Bloodwatch, and they're pretty much your supernatural hunters that hunt for the supernatural threats. So if you want to find your particular style of play, whether more of a typical muscle and machines or whether more magic and spells, that's all going to come up as we progress with the new releases. So far what we got here and what we demo with is the 2 starter sets. Each of them is a fully playable force. You get 5 or 6 miniatures depending on the faction. And we got a couple of new releases that come out to regular distribution in September. Our plan is to upkeep the monthly releases, and since right now the game is selling pretty well, and we got the US distribution set up, so it's going to be very easy to pick up the games from your local stores. The plan is to have at least 2 new Supremes a month, which will gradually increase your forces and will give you a chance to flesh out the sub-factions. So right now at this moment, we got the miniatures ready for a playable faction of the Ape Revolution Committee, who seem to be the most popular choice of our gamers. We started with Gorilla, the big gorilla with the chain gun, and now we're introducing several new members. Chimchi, the ninja monkey, and Apebot, the big 3 tones of steel steered by a little spider monkey named Virus. So this is the most popular group so far, but there's going to be others. As the game progresses, we're going to be adding new rules. So far, you can get a downloadable full rules book. It's about 45 pages, and it covers all of the aspects of the gaming in Pulp City. But of course, we know that there's a lot of people that just love the printed books, and we keep getting all the questions about the fluff, about the new rules. So the good news is that next year we'll be here with a fully printed book. What we're adding on top of the rules that we have right now is several additional gameplay options and a lot of fluff. The new gameplay options is pretty much combining a lot of fluff with the rules. So we'll have a huge chapter on Pulp City places, so that you read about a special district in Pulp City or about an island that's just a couple of miles from the Pulp City coast. And aside of that, you get a lot of rules and special agendas for the game. The other cool thing about the upcoming rules is the rules for an alternate kind of a gameplay. It's going to be called Pulp Monsters, and the superhero teams will be able to take on regular monsters. And in the game, we already have this little division that each of the Supremes has its own background. We call them origins. So there's a science, there's a nature, and there's mystery origins. So the big monsters will also come from these origins. We're going to have big robots for science, the elders for mystery, and we're going to have beasts for nature. And each of them will play very differently. The good news is that we want to do the rules customizable, even though we'll have the miniatures ready. Well, it's hard to call a miniature something that's that big, but we're going to have customizable rules. So if you feel like actually, picking up your Iron Man miniature or an action figure from your shelf and playing it as a Pulp Monster in Pulp City game, that's cool with us. Well, you're going to have the rules to do that as well. So far here at Gen Con, we've done a lot of demos. We got a lot of people come and stop by our booth to play the game. One of the coolest events we had is the event we're running on Sunday, which is the crossover game with the guys from Darks and Designs. And so we crossed the Pulp City game with their AE game, effectively making the superheroes go back in time trying to stop the Germans. So that worked out very well. And we got a lot of agenda-driven scenarios. The game can be played either as a hero against the villain kind of a play, when it's just about eliminating the other team, but also the basic book introduces a lot of agenda options. So it's a system I did not see yet before, because the agendas are basically your little scenarios, and any team can take almost any amount of those agendas without revealing them to their opponent. What's cool about it is you can take as many as you want, but for not fulfilling them, you get penalty points. So you gotta be really wise about how you play it. And this had worked really well when we played the game yesterday. We played a big game, 3 factions going at each other. The game was about salvaging or saving the chimps that run amok the city. And what heroes knew that there is a dangerous virus strain in one of the monkeys, and they tried to destroy the monkey while the April Revolution Committee was trying to save it. So that's pretty much about the game in the nutshell. That's it.
So you have a green out for Harrier.
Yeah.
When's she going to be released?
We just picked her up from Steve Saunders, and she's going to be the part of the 3rd wave of releases. That's going to be pretty much in early October, late September, early October. And we have already a set up release schedule for the rest of the year. And the beginning of the next year sees the first level 3 miniatures. See, we don't have a very typical army constructions rules. We just agree on a certain supreme level encounter. Let's say an encounter level is what you need to play with the starter boxes. So the Supremes have levels that you add up to the total of the encounter. So in January we're going to have the first level 3 Supremes, which is going to be pretty much the core for every Supreme that you will be building around a special team. They were going to doing a lot. They will have a lot of leadership skills, lots of boost actions, many things that will actually make the team play better, not necessarily make them hyper powerful.
You mentioned distribution deals, so you've got distribution through which companies now?
Where we're working with Alliance, and Alliance will be getting their first shipment of starter boxes right after Gen Con, and we've already have stuff through the Warpath Games who should have received their first shipment. We'll also be working with Darks and Designs guys who run their own distribution company, and so there's plenty of options to get the game in the States and playable.
Excellent. Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.